Okay, so this is my video about teaching animals. First, I'm just getting them settled down. As from the previous assessment, I was told to work on my transition, how I give my instructions, so I'm getting them to settle down a bit more nicely and faster. We're having some tech issues. Sometimes the computer doesn't work properly, and this time the keyboard wasn't working, so I had some trouble doing that. I thought the computer was ready for me. It wasn't. It was off, so it took a while to turn on. Just before this class we were doing testing in another class, so I wasn't able to come in early. I was actually late for my class because I had to go to another class and then run back to this one, and then some things I thought was ready. I went in there before the testing, and then when I came back it wasn't the way I left it, so having trouble with the mouse, having trouble with the keyboard. Computer didn't turn on very fast, but yeah, things got moving along once that was all. There we go. So I'm just going through some animals. Some of them have come up before, some of the animals are new. During our practice questions, we have done a little bit of what can this animal do, what can it not do. So it's a bit of review of the ones that they should know, a little bit about what sound they make, just making it a little bit fun. Okay, I'm just going through the animals because in the next part there's an activity page and all the animals on screen are on the activity page. I'm just making sure they know the animal words and attempt at making a short sentence. I'm going to go through all of them. Bear. This took a little bit longer than I thought. Maybe I didn't need to go through every animal, seeing as some of them they do know. lion. Raymond writes friend name star, elephant. Got it? Jack, shark. Jimmy, rabbit. Oscar, I know, I'm just telling you what to do. Oh, do you understand? Yes. You sure? Yes. So, what do you do on the top? Just doing my control check question. No color. When you are done this side, color. But I want this first. You go ask your friend, what do you have? Hogan, I have a butterfly. Robert, I have a zebra. Yes? Okay? So all you have now, all you need now, the only thing you need is a pencil or one crayon. No, so because there's only one of each animal, I don't want them to see all the pages and then have chaos. I'm checking my board for who was the best students this week, because there's a point paper, you can't see it. Miranda, Edward were the two best ones, so they can actually choose the animal. The rest, depending on their performance, they either just get an animal, or I'll attempt to let them pick from what's left over, but the best ones get first choice. And then you can see the Chinese teacher coming and interacting there. I didn't know we can't use the tables, so I told them to go to the tables, and she's re-instructing them to move their chairs off to the side, where they'll be filling in their paper, and also helping me give out the papers. So last time there was a suggestion about controlling them moving around, so I'm telling them this time to not move all together, wait until you have your paper, then get the crayon and your chair, because right now the chairs are at the front, and then they can go. Also, I don't want them running around. Whoever's sitting nicely are the ones I'm giving a paper to. If they stand up, I'm not giving them a paper. The ones that are up, I don't know why they're approaching the Chinese teacher there. I don't understand that situation. Off to the side is where the crayons are, so some of them are moving there to get their crayon after they've received their paper. Let's skip ahead a little bit. Albert didn't sit nicely until the very end, so the poor thing had very little choice of animals. That's Albert still not sitting nicely. There we go, finally Albert got the clue. Alright, so here they moved them over to the chairs on the side, which is fine. This was a better arrangement than the last time that we couldn't use the tables. Had them in two little rows, boys, girls. They know to line up that way. So I'll remember to do that way the next time. Oh, just getting the camera sorted, we can skip that. So here, first they just, like I asked them, fill in the name and trace the animal name, and I'm checking that they all did it. They're starting to move around to ask their friends. Not all of them's using the English that I asked for, which is, what do you have? I have a. But they do need to work together and let each other see their paper to write the word, because they obviously don't know mean, they know the words, but they can't write it. We're not quite there yet. So this is about word recognition. I'm a big fan of sight words. These will go on the wall next week because we're wrapping up the food theme. So they will have their own flashcards up on the wall. And I've noticed in previous classes how effective that is to help them learn new words and specifically the writing and spelling, because we're moving into the reading section of our learning. That's why I wanted them to do this way. And then also that they have to work together. They have to allow each other access to each other's papers to copy the words over and see how to write each other's names. Many of them can recognize each other's names. When we do book, they have to hand each other's books out, and some of them can read. I don't have to actually tell them anymore. But writing it is a different matter. So this was interesting to me, you could see a little bit of the paper there for a second. Many of them managed to fill in at least 5, which I'm very happy about. I wasn't sure how successful they were going to pull this off. Obviously, I have my top students that I had high expectations for, but even the lower levels managed to fill in quite a bit of the column. We didn't have time to color the pictures. I'll let them color it another time when there's extra 5 minutes left at the end of the class, because it does make the classroom nice and colorful. There's no real purpose to it other than for their entertainment, but they do enjoy a bit of coloring and participating in their classroom. That's brilliant. That's little Jimmy spelling it out for his friend. That's great. That's so great. Again, I'm moving around the class and helping 1 or 2 of them. Some of them, obviously because we have limited space and they have to work together, they don't want to necessarily show everybody their stuff, the ones that they're less friendly with. So some of them have got less, and I'm just helping out here and there and making the list a little bit longer for the 1 or 2 that's having trouble with the writing or working together. So this might look like a missed opportunity of having them copy each other's papers, but you can see they're doing it anyway. I didn't have to actually tell them. These 2 get on well, and they're even showing it, they're spelling it, and showing it to each other. It's great. This worked out so much better than I thought. I was so surprised at their ability to do this together without trouble, without fighting, without, so impressed with them, so great. See little Hetty getting impatient, she wants to check the other side. So great watching them now. Well, it's not English, but they're working together. I'll reinforce this when the words go up on the wall. And the names are on it, so then they'll be able to give me the full English structure. I have this, Susie has this, what does star have? Star has this. Because the follow-up of this is going to be like a pet activity. They will be assigned a pet, which is the one on the wall, and then do a little activity around that. So this is I like follow-up. I'm a firm believer of again and again and again, and expand, not just like here, there, everywhere, which is sometimes what I feel like my instructions from the school is like. there will be a next part and the next part and the next part that all comes from this first section. Sorry about my butt. I forgot the camera's there. And I needed to check on these guys over here. I'm gonna skip my butt. Oh, Abbott, low level 1. He was folding it. Okay, so the great thing about this activity is that I made more columns than I actually needed. So even if some of them had filled in enough, 5 is actually enough, there's more columns available so that I can decide when they're done. They don't have to be unengaged anymore. I can just tell them, well, go ask another person, even if they're not your friend, which is something Kurt suggested to me at the last class feedback session. And so basically when time's up is when I take their papers back, and I'm perfectly happy with 3 or 5 filled in columns and names there. That, oh, so proud of them. They did so well. Okay, so Jason goes and asks. He's a bit lazy with the writing, but he wants a nice long list. So I ask him to tell me, and I'll quickly write it for him. And this will obviously go home to the parents as soon as I'm satisfied that they know the animal names, and we can move on. And then that sound is lunchtime, so this is where we wrap things up. And I ask them to give me the paper and put their chairs back. And that's basically it. I'm collecting the papers now, and oh, they switched papers on me. Anyway, that's kind of the end.